Tuesday's lesson, it talks about, in the first paragraph, it says, the resurrection addresses the problem of human powerlessness. When we think about life, death, and resurrection of Jesus, we often think about how the death of Jesus was the event that made us legally right with God. And of course, that is true. That's what the lesson says. I'll have to stop right there. First off, it's absolutely true that we as humans are powerless over death. We do not have the power of life and death. We do not hold the keys to the grave. Okay, so when we all face it, we cannot speak things into existence. We are not the source of life. We cannot cure the sin problem. Life originates in God and is sustained by God and God alone. But what about this idea that the death of Christ made us legally right with God? Well, what does that reveal? The statement. Does it tell you a law lens they're understanding the problem through? Okay. There was never, I'm going to just tell you, there was never a legal problem. There was an actual condition of being brought. So again, if you ever have an opportunity to discuss with people, hold this view, ask them basic questions. When Adam sinned in Eden, did God get changed? He did not. Did God's law get changed? Did something about Adam and Eve change? Yes. Then the plan of salvation, is it to do something to God who is still the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and he hasn't changed, he's perfect in all his ways? No, it can't be that. Is it to do something to God's law? God's law, the sin revealed there was an editor's note error in one of the, we have to edit and fix one of the laws. Is that the problem? No, the law is perfect. There's nothing to be done to the law. It's perfect. So if there's a problem and it's not in God and it's not in God's law, where is it? It's in man. So where does the solution have to be operational? Where does it have to make a change, an effect? And that's the whole Scripture, all the metaphors of Scripture. Look at the metaphors of Scripture and tell me if you see legal things going on. Circumcise the heart by the Spirit. Remove the heart of stone. Put in a heart of flesh. Write the law on the heart and mind. Rebirth. Renewal. Dying to the old life. Rising to the new life. Having the mind of Christ. The old is gone. The new is come. All these metaphors. There's more. Do any of these things sound legal to you? No. Even the one that mentioned law, write the law on your heart and mind, is that actually describing a legal process? Or a renewal, a transformation process? If you took the word law out and said, write the operating system on your heart and mind, that's really what we're talking about, the methods and modes of which God's kingdom operates. Some might immediately protest and go, whoa, hold on though. You're forgetting Zechariah. And the high priest standing before the Lord, and the devil is there accusing, the accuser of the brethren is accusing. You know the story? And it's commonly used as a courtroom scene. Go back and read the story and actually take off your biased and post-human law lens and courtroom assumptions and simply read what transpires in that story. And what transpires in that story is what? I remove your dirty clothes. I put on clean clothes. See, I have taken away your sin. There's nothing legal going on. The accuser is trying to make it legal, trying to point out a legal problem, and the Lord rebukes him and heals him. Is he not a branch plucked from the fire? He was in the fire of sin. He was being destroyed. But I've taken him from that, and I have removed all the filthiness and brokenness and dirtiness, and I've healed and cleansed and renewed him. This is not legal. It's regenerational. It's transformational. The entire legal theory of salvation is Satan's view of the plan to corrupt our minds, to distrust God, and teach a theology that's hierarchical and puts a division in the Godhead where we have God, who is the authoritarian judge, needing another member of the Godhead, and in some versions, Mary and all the saints, to really work on him to get him not to hurt you. Questions about any of that?
It's not Jesus putting his clean clothes over somebody who's not converted.
That's right. Nope. The covering of the righteousness, rightly understood, is our thoughts are brought into unity with his thoughts. Our will becomes united with his will. We live his life. This is what it means to be covered with the robe of righteousness. It's no longer I that live, but Christ lives in me. That's the transformational part. Another way to say it. Last paragraph, I think we'll have to close on this. But Paul doesn't stop there. The resurrection didn't simply give Jesus any sort of power. It gave him the power to rule and provide every possible thing his people could ever need for all eternity. It gave him the power to rule, and the resurrection gave him the power to rule and provide everything.
Didn't Scripture say he had that before?
Didn't he have that
Which
means he wasn't God to begin with.
Thank you. Yes, that's my question. Didn't Jesus have the power to rule and provide everything we needed before the resurrection? Didn't Jesus have the right to rule heaven before the resurrection? Wasn't that Lucifer's allegation and jealousy of Christ because Christ was the right ruler? So I would suggest Hebrews 5, 8, 9, although he was a son, he learned obedience from what he had suffered. And once made perfect, he became the source of eternal salvation for all who obey him. I would say he's always had the right to rule, and he's always had the power to rule. In fact, he's always been the ruler. But our salvation required more than his power. It required, once we were in sin, a revelation of the truth to destroy the lies and win us trust. And it required this new nature once he was made perfect. He was always sinless. Bible perfection is mature character. We could not mature a godly, righteous, sinless character. All of us were infected, born in sin, conceived in iniquity. So Christ came and partook of humanity and carried it to the cross, destroyed the infection of the carnal drives, and restored God's perfection in humanity, and thus he became the source of salvation. So he provided that. So it's true, we couldn't be saved without his incarnation, life, death, and resurrection. But it's not because it gave him power. It gave him a remedy. It gave him a cure. It gave him the solution to the problem that had to be wrought out in a humanity that he did for us. Gracious Father in heaven, we are so thankful for Jesus.